G'day guys, welcome to another video. As you can probably realise, I'm here in a marina, breakwater marina. I splashed the boat the day before yesterday after all the painting was all finished. Spent the whole day yesterday cleaning. It was all full of fiberglass dust, terrible stuff, and itchy and not nice to be in the boat when it's like that. But yeah, spent about 8 hours cleaning yesterday and the boat's looking great. She's looking real good. I'm proud of her again. And today we're doing another big upgrade, and it'll be the last sort of upgrade for right now, the last major upgrade anyway. And yeah, it's going to change our life on the boat. I'm pretty stoked about it. I've told you in the last year or so a few times probably that I'm having battery issues, and you know, my AGMs are starting to wear down and that. So yeah, this cool company from Western Australia, iTech World, has come to the rescue and shipped me out some new batteries and some new gear to install. So today's that day. This is what we're looking at. And I've got some help because I am not an electrician and I'm terrible at this sort of stuff. So how are you going? What's your name? Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Albert, local electrician here in Townsville. We're just getting ready to start the job with Vern here. So the main thing is we're just going to take these old lumps so they can go to the scrap metal yard, work out what we've got with the cabling. We're probably going to have to upgrade the cabling, but the main thing is once we get the batteries out, see what we've got, work from there, get these new lovely lithiums in, and hopefully it'll be done this afternoon.
So as luck would have it, I met Albert in the chandlery over at the yard. What I found here in Townsville, it's very hard to get anybody to do anything, let alone work. You know, I needed some clears done. Oh, 3 months. Oh, I needed this finished. Oh, don't even bother asking. There's no one available. It's all blah, blah, blah. There's either no one working here or everyone's too lazy. I don't know what it is. But I met Albert in the chandlery and heard him talking to them. There's an electrician and I was like, oh, I need one of them. So I grabbed him and said, do you want to, you know, have you got time to come and look at my boat and the system right now? And he was like, yeah, I've got 15 minutes. And that was 2 days ago, and here he is working today. So this is a turn up for the books, and it's re-established my faith in North Queensland that people actually work. So what I've done first is pull out all the old batteries. As I said, I got a bit of a hodgepodge. I got one 200 amp hour battery and three 120s, or four 120s I had in. So a bit of a hodgepodge. And alright, so I've got the batteries out now, the old ones. And just to show you the comparison, it's pretty crazy. We both lifted this 200 amp hour one out, and 60 something kilos, and it's just crazy. I'll show you the size difference. So these are the old ones. These are 120 amp hour batteries, so that's 60 amp hours of usable power. This is a 245 and a very high CCA, a very good battery this one in its day when I got it. But yeah, very heavy. I can barely lift it. And then we over here you got 200 amp hours, which is, you've nearly got 200 amp hours, which is basically the same as all of that, but this is just so much more usable power, and I can lift it easy by myself. Okay, so we're pulling all these cables out. Because there's more power in these batteries, we need thicker cables. So this is the cable that's coming in now. I'll show you a comparison in a minute, but we're pulling all this cable out. That's pretty expensive. This is, you know, this is already quite thick copper cable. Yeah, you can see here, this is pretty thick solid copper, and the one Albert's bringing in here is
70
about,
mil.
what's this one?
I think that
40?
one's 50.
50, alright.
Yeah, so going a bit bigger, so basically as long as it's under 5 meters, as a general rule, you work on 3 times the cable size for your current capacity of the cable.
These are the ones I bodged up in Indonesia, and look at the size of them compared to what this is going to be.
Look,
and you could feel them hot, like, because obviously they were restricting the charge.
But this is like using what you've got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is welding cable from Indonesia.
Yeah. No, well, the thing is, I said, like, it's a fairly good quality flex cable. It's really good. I said I'll just do it a little bit different to this.
So this is the space where one of them's going, and this is my main sort of bus bar and circuit breakers and fuses. These are all fuses here. And this is the, what do you call this? The
shunt.
This is the shunt, which tells this thing here how much battery percentage, or basically how much power's going in and out, how much the usage is. The good thing about this boat, it's very easy to work on because there's no bilge. You know, all the cables just go straight here under the thing. Very easy to get to, so that's pretty nice.
Yeah, that'll go through. That should go through.
Yeah.
So we should be good for that.
Get the hammer on it. So we've got these really thick cables. We're putting in much thicker cables than I had before because the capacity is obviously more. But getting them through this run here is quite tricky. I've had to cut out a bit of a section here to get them up, and then they've got to go through here. 3 of them. So we're taping them together and pulling them through, getting one through and pulling the next and then pulling the next. Alright, so we've got the big fat 70mm copper cables through under the floor from the one battery box to the other, and Albert's putting the lugs on that end, and we'll drop that battery in and then the same here, and then we'll connect it all up. What's Albert up to?
Heat shrinking the ends.
And the lugs on. Okay, so Albert's finished on this side with the lugs. As you can see, we've got the big lugs all nicely down, and these are little dynamo ropes, and they're obviously important to tie the battery down. Let's say worst case, going around the south end of New Zealand and get rolled over, which obviously I don't want to happen, but you've got to be prepared. These batteries are then going to be, well, less of a problem. They're not 60 kilos, but they're still 24, 25 kilos that will, if they're not tied down, fly out of there and potentially go through the roof or fall back down and land on your head and kill you. So all these sorts of things you need to think about, like the floorboards need to be able to be either screwed down, or in this case I've got locks on them, and the batteries need to be tied down. If you get inverted on your boat, gravity is gonna take them to the top. All right, I'm gonna get this battery in. It's going to be a lot easier getting this battery in than getting the AGMs in because they're a third of the weight. All right, let's go get it.
So we got 13.33 volts on that. That's battery here. We got, mate, that's identical.
13.33.
So
is that a good sign?
Well, it means they've held charge. It means they're ready to go. Don't need prior balancing, nothing.
Yeah.
So if it's 24 volt system, you always balance your batteries beforehand. 12 volts not as critical because they'll balance out being tied together. But that's really good. Heavy still?
Nah. You just swing a couple of these over my shoulder. Look at that. Oh, it's like nothing. The other one, I literally couldn't do this by myself. It's so crazy. It's really nothing in it, but there's double the power. Ugh. Alright, look at that, it just fits in beautifully. Going to have the terminals coming up here. Boom, boom. Tie these over. So a bit of an update, where are we up to now? What are we doing?
There was a bit of a mess of wires coming here, so I'm just taking the battery wires are going to be to here. Then we were bleeding off there and just put a little bus bar in here. So that way we are daisy chaining it all off the bottom of this fuse here. So we had that daisy chained off with that, which was a bit messy and a bit not good to go from that to that to that in terms of cable sizing. So by going to a bus bar, it also means that some of the other cabling will tag off a lot easier and a lot cleaner. So I'm hoping once we do this, we can get power back on, make sure everything's good with the batteries, then test the DC to DC and install the DC to DC, and we should be all hopefully good. So just doing some final testing before we do the final hookups. So if you look over there, that battery's all hooked up. So we've got our positive parallel feed to here. We've got our negative main feed there, and we've got a negative parallel feed over there. The main feed from that battery comes to here, from the negative. The positive on that side comes to here, so I can show you that with this. There you go, 13.3 volts. Battery 1 and battery 2. And then by doing this, it's forcing the current to be shared equally through both batteries. So instead of basically where a lot of people do it, they'll go positive to here, negative to here, then they'll parallel off this to the other battery.
That's how it was before.
Yeah, which is very, very bad. That's extremely bad. And it's even worse with lithium, because what actually happens is this battery will be effectively zero resistance to the bus, to the loads, and then that there will be the resistance of that lead there, which will be like comparison of 0 to infinity. So to counteract that, by crossing the positive to this one, and then making the feed go back from the other side across, it means that the current flow has to flow through both batteries, and it loads both batteries correctly.
Yeah, evenly,
Yeah. So when we initially wired this, like you questioned it, why are we putting 3 wires across?
Yeah.
So the parallel positive, parallel negative, and our main neutral feed back across the boat.
So they should age at the same rate, and you're using full capacity of both batteries.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
No, it also means too that you'll pull the batteries down evenly.
Yeah.
And you won't have, because what also happens with these is if you pull an overload and this battery's getting hammered down unevenly to that one, this BMS will go no. It'll turn off, and then the other battery will turn on. So the BMSs will basically be doing their own things instead of they should be pulling down together like that. That's what you want with all lithium batteries. The BMS is doing their own thing separately because of an installation fault, effectively.
Yeah. Okay.
And most problems you have is not manufacturing; it's installation.
Yeah. So you guys.
Yeah.
Or when I do it. So how far off we are powering this boat up again?
So basically, put that on there. We can then start testing it, and we just got to start commissioning stuff.
All right. Let's have at it. We have electricity, baby. No, listen to that. Fridge starts right up. Should I have turned all that stuff off?
No, it doesn't really matter. Won't
No?
matter too much.
So what's this process?
I always do it just to make sure. It's just a bit of a wax coating. It just stops so we don't get any corrosion. It seals the joints off too, so we don't get any oxidation between the battery and the lugs.
Okay, state of play is the boat is running again. We're powered up, but just off battery power now. So the front section of it's done. All this is done here. The fridge is running. The solar would potentially be charging, right? It's all
charging.
It's all connected in. The next job is to put the DC to DC charger in. That'll go between the start battery, which is an AGM, and this lot, right, to stop the alternator overheating.
Because the lithium battery is effectively a dead short, they'll pull whatever current you can give them. That's why you have a DC-DC, because it limits it.
Yeah, otherwise it'd be just maxing out the alternator and burning it out.
Yeah, especially if you've got an alternator when you're trolling at low speeds, because the problem is the alternator is trying to put out, if it tries to peg out to its maximum output and it isn't turning fast enough to get cool air through it, you'll burn out.
But if you were under a bit of revs and the fan is spinning fast, it's probably okay. Especially with this.
Okay is a relative term.
Yeah.
So if you've got like a 55 amp alternator and that's tied the start battery to your house batteries, and your house battery wants 200 amps, it will basically peg out to maximum. It probably won't burn it out, it'll just go as high as it can, but what will happen is it will flatten your start battery.
Oh yeah.
So you'll have a deficit of what goes in won't equal what comes out, and you'll end up with a flat start battery.
Okay.
So it will buffer it.
You don't really want that.
Yeah, but you don't. Yeah, that's what you don't want. So this DC-DC is what you really need if you're charging off lithiums.
Alright, so we've got the 40 amp DC to DC charger plugged in here.
Yeah, so alternator in to our battery isolators, and then so we've got it that's bridging between the combiner. So when the engine's running, it will automatically charge the lithium house batteries, and just put some extra fusing in there. And we've got it so that when it runs, it's charging. When it's off, it cuts off.
Yeah.
And so you got the three plugs there: start battery, output battery, and solar, which we're not using yet.
That's another MPPT is built into this unit, so I can plug solar directly in. And so we've got the two isolation switches here. They're still functional, and I still use them in the same way.
Start battery.
Yep.
So the start battery, and then that's the combiner. We've got to turn it on, check the settings are right. Do that and then test our output. Yeah. There you go. Can you hear the engine start wiping down?
Yeah.
So there you go.
It's putting out 25 amps now.
Yeah.
Into the battery terminal.
So you can hear it start to labour up.
Yeah.
So it's good to get a little bit of tension. Yeah.
So that's going into the house bank now. Alright, so we'll just run the engine for the first time to check what the DC-DC charge is going in.
Yeah, so Yeah, so that's 20 amps going in.
So that's 20 amps going into the battery right now, but we've got load on the battery with 10 amps coming out, so it's literally 30 going in.
Alright. Really good.
We'll turn it off?
Yeah.
Alright, excellent. Testing done. Alright, well, good job. Stoked on how it all turned out. And yeah, thanks for that you could just come down here really at short notice and just bang this out. It's awesome.
Yeah, no, it's no problem. It wasn't too bad a job.
And you think I'll be pretty sweet now with power?
I'd be very surprised if you have a power problem forever with this boat. With the amount of load you pull, you've got fairly reasonably small sized loads, and these batteries, like, I really think once you start getting into it, you'll realise these batteries without any solar input or alternator input are going to just last. And then when you put the alternator in, it's just going to basically pump the current straight back into it.
Yeah.
Like you're pretty much self-sufficient now.
Yeah.
You probably never need to hook up to shore power.
That's awesome. That's how I like to live.
So, well, that's the way a lot of people are looking for, to be, you know, that self-sufficiency.
Yeah, off-grid.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
This is exactly it, off-grid. Like, that power cable, you can almost literally throw that in the bin now.
It's already unplugged.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and this is the holy grail for people with caravans, boats, the whole lot.
Alright, well, thanks very much for your hard work. It's freezing here. We're down in Ellie Beach. It's about 3 weeks since I installed these batteries with Albert, awesome Albert from Townsville. And man, we have put these things to the test. It has literally been like this, sub-Antarctic weather, for about 6 days in a row now. Haven't seen the sun, zero solar hardly. And you know what? I haven't had to turn on the engine. We don't have a generator. And these batteries have just been powering through. So 6 days now, no energy coming in basically. We've still got fridge and freezer. We're actually inside using our computers more than normal because obviously you're not going to do much in this weather. And it's sort of going down 10% per day. And we've still probably got another 3 days worth in the batteries. So that's incredible. We've never come close to that with the AGMs. I think we would be about 3 days on the AGMs before. And so they've really blown me away. Yeah, so good. Listening to all these boats around us, generator going, engine going, just all chugging away, diesel, and we're just sitting here quiet with our lithiums just doing their thing. So yeah, iTech, thanks very much. You've definitely changed our lives. I'll do a bit more of an update in 6 months because, you know, we'll live with them more, but this has been the biggest test. And I mean, obviously didn't plan this. Who would plan to be in sunny Queensland and be 5 degrees at night and raining every day? Yeah, I want to say thanks to iTech. Obviously, this is a huge help for us, a really big upgrade to Schiehallion, our lives aboard. We obviously have just proved it. We can go completely off grid now. I'm sure in New Zealand, where it's obviously not as sunny as in Queensland, we'll still be fine there as well. Alright guys, I want to give a plug here to iTech. Right here, website from iTech. Right here, a code you guys can grab to get a bit of a discount on their products. Look through their website, their gear. They've got all sorts of stuff for off-grid living, solar panels. I'm not even going to go through it. They've got a lot of stuff. Go and check it out. Use the code. Yeah, save some money. And it's Australian designed, family business. They've got longer guarantees than most other brands. They ship out. I had these things in 10 days and that was all the way from Western Australia, and it's not airmail, you know, the lithium batteries. So had the stuff real quick. Customer service is great. They're actual humans answering the phones. I can really highly recommend them. Really top blokes. For any of you guys that are sailing up to Townsville and you need anything with your electronics done, Albert's the man. He is really going to come quickly. His prices are more than reasonable and he's a cool bloke to hang out with, you know, along with all that. So here's his contacts right down here. Top bloke. Thanks for watching guys. Hope this was in some way useful to you, and we'll see you next week. Bye bye.